To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We cover the biggest topics of our time on today's News Talk, TNT Radio.
Now, Gene, today Biden was asked by one of the reporters there, I'm not sure which one it was, but he was asked if he's done with executive authority everything he can to secure the border before he got on the plane or the jet or the helicopter there. And he said, this is a loose quote here, basically, to paraphrase, he said, I've done all I can do to secure the border. Give me the power. Give me the border patrol. Give me the judges and the people I need to stop this, make it work, something like that. It started turning into a real marble mouth moment at the end. But Gene, I mean, how disingenuous is that statement coming from the President of the United States?
You know, Brian, when you ask me a question like that, it's like throwing a match into the gas tank. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
I think you guys are getting off on lighting that match with me every day if we meet. But why don't they take a little bit of that $6.5 million of Hunter Biden's art to get some of this funding going? I saw the same interview you did. And my only comment is he didn't need to worry about going to Congress for anything when he opened up the border, did he? He did it unilaterally, behind the scene. His hand wasn't off the Bible, swearing himself in before things were being reversed at the border. Who's kidding who here? Why now is this? There's an attempt in Congress. We've seen it occupying our time in the news about legislation that the Senate is Chuck Schumer is trying to jam down our throats about an acceptability minimum of level of acceptability of about 5,000 illegals per day, as opposed to what? How about 0, which is where it was? And when it was at 0, did we need a legislative act? No. We had Joe Biden unilaterally reversing everything good Donald Trump did. And now you're telling me we've got to collaborate and deliberate in Congress to come to some acceptable level? This is a distraction. This is a get your attention. This is diverting you off the issue that they have the authority to fix it right now. That's what Kristi Noem was saying. She knows firsthand that this can be done unilaterally. We don't need an act of Congress to solve this problem. And then we shift gears in the news to 3 unfortunate patriots dying in battle overseas on the issues over there right now, and all the people that are only to what? Seek more money in a congressional bill to amp up an action over there against you to further support Ukraine and Israel, not to mention our counterattack, which we'll decide when and where and how. But now Biden's staging a request for money. How much of that money is dropping back into the Biden crime family coffers while we continue to ignore the southern border?
You know, Gene, it is maddening. It is a distraction. But everything is a distraction for them, isn't it? The second people start getting wise to what's going on, they distract us with something over here. And look at this shiny object. And you know, we're speaking of that Bash interview with Kristi Noem. The part I didn't mention was the fact that Dana Bash was discussing this very act of Congress that Schumer is trying to get through. And she holds it up and says, look, you've got some very conservative members of the Senate, including, and this list will just crack you up, including John Cornyn, including Mitch McConnell. She's calling John Cornyn and Mitch McConnell, who by most accounts are swamp creatures, she's saying they are very conservative senators. Well, we know what the hell McConnell and Cornyn want. It's not what Trump wants. It's not that border locked down tight. And I just think that given what we saw happen, the number one response from voters who came out of the Iowa caucus and the New Hampshire primaries, it was the exact same thing. Immigration. The southern border has to be fixed. And now they're trying to pivot this and say, well, this is the fault of Congress. This is the fault of the Republicans in the House. This is the fault of Trump. This is the fault of MAGA. I just don't see how that washes. I don't see how that plays.
It's hard. It's hard, admittedly, Stephen, to keep 100% of all of the Americans up to speed on all of these issues that have been commingled and diluted. But you are correct. Keep your eye on Senator Rick Scott, not to be confused with Tim Scott, good guy. Senator Rick Scott from Florida, my senator here in Florida, done an admirable job. He's got an 11-point success plan on how to protect and revitalize America. It's consistent with where Donald Trump is going. Senator Rick Scott was ambushed by Mitch McConnell for his genuine, legitimate desire to want to be considered head of the Senate. Now, the last time I looked, we have ourselves a democracy here, and people can step up and participate and say, hey, I want to run too. Nah, Gene, it's not your turn. Let's take a pass. We'll vote you down if you run. And that would have been okay. But no, not Mitch McConnell. He had to pull away from Senator Rick Scott certain projects, certain priorities, certain things that he was involved in for the greater good, not just of Florida, but for the United States. And that was because Mr. Mitch McConnell, married to a Chinese shipping magnate in her family, that Mitch McConnell has outlived his usefulness. I'm not talking about his health. I don't wish him any harm, but he's outlived his leadership usefulness to the United States Senate, whether he's majority leader or minority leader. We need new leadership. I'd like everybody to keep their eyes on Senator Rick Scott.
There you go.
Outlived it, Gene. My goodness, you're in a kind and forgiving mood today. I'd say that guy deserves to be behind bars.
Well, if you include how some of these people came into office with nothing and left with several millions of dollars more than you and I could conceive of, at $180,000 or $200,000 a year, whatever the compensation package is, it doesn't add up to $40 million in 4 to 7 years. I'm just having trouble with how they reach a net worth like that in such a short period of time. I think that's part of my. Yeah, I was just going to conclude saying that's part of my Bill of Rights, a mechanism in place to police the bad behavior of self-indulgence. As elected officials, there will be a price to pay if you abuse your position in Congress. And that's why this kind of amendment to the Constitution won't be passed by these congressmen and women and senators. It'll have to be a convention of states or come from outside the system, just like our states have gathered together now to help protect Greg Abbott in Texas.
There you go. All right. Well said. And you can find Gene's work and the proposed amendments that he's got over there at his website, GeneValentino.com, and of course the Grassroots Truthcast with Gene Valentino. Gene, real quick, we got to let you go, but one last question before we let you go. Could this lead to civil war, what we're seeing right here? They're shouting that out in MSNBC right now.
It's a little bit inflammatory and premature. I think with stable leadership, we can avoid it just like Trump did. Trump was accused of that behavior too, but he avoided it even with Kim Jong-un. You got to have stable, solid leadership that knows how to deal in a crisis. And Joe Biden needs to go before the November 2024 election for just that reason.
Thanks, Gene. GeneValentino.com to keep up with Gene, and right here at State of the Nation on today's News Talk TNT.